afternoon, colleagues and the teachers. Welcome to this session. This breakout session is about computer-supported collaborative argumentation in various subjects. So my name is Wenli. I'm an associate professor from NIE. I'm the head of the Learning Sciences and Assessment academic group. So today I would like to share with you our school-based research project findings on computer-supported collaborative argumentation in our local schools classroom, which include both secondary school and primary school. Okay, so if you have any question, please feel free to post those questions in our chat, in our breakout room chat, or alternatively, you can unmute yourself and verbally ask. Okay, so for this breakout session, there will be only 35 minutes. So I plan to talk about 20 to 25 minutes. Then we are going to reserve 10 to 15 minutes for Q&A. Yeah, is that okay? So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so the theme for today's seminar is about inquiry-based learning, right? So actually, argumentation, it is very useful for inquiry-based learning. There is a such term called argument-based inquiry learning. Okay, so why argumentation? It has been widely recognized as an effective approach for inquiry learning. In the literature, there are a large amount of literature documenting the benefits of argument for inquiry learning. For example, it will improve students' conceptual understanding. It will help them grasp the learning of the content deeper, and it will also help them to do the knowledge building and the knowledge creation. Yeah, so I think Mark and Dana, they have talked a lot about argument, so I won't repeat. Okay, so in my research project, we have been using collaborative argumentation in various projects, or in various subjects as well. So those subjects including science, social studies, history, mother tongue, English. Yeah. So first, let me start with science. I think there was a shift in science education. I think our science educators were aware of this. There was a shift from exploration and experiment to construction of argument and explanation. So CER is a very widely used model for students to construct scientific argumentation and explanation. Yeah. And also in other subjects, for example, in social study and history. So in this social studies inquiry process, as you can see, actually argument plays a role in every aspect here, from sparking the curiosity by helping students develop the questions about those societal issues. And also they need to gather multiple data from multiple perspective resources. Then they need to evaluate usefulness and the reliability of these resources. So at the end, they need to have a firm stand of this society issue, right? So throughout the process, argumentation plays a very important role. Yeah. In language and the literature learning, okay, so students have to use language to argue, right? So the argumentation also very play important role in this process. Okay. So the pedagogy we are proposing here is a collaborative argumentation. Yeah, why collaborative? We want students to argue together. So this is a social process in which individual students, they work together to construct and critique arguments. So when they are proposing, critiquing, coordinating evidences with their claims to construct the arguments and explanations, we hope they are able to learn better. Yeah, so sometimes they need to argue with each other to have a better argument. So we hope students can learn to argue at the same time, argue to learn. Okay, so however we found out effective classroom, collaborative argumentation is not very common in our local schools classroom. So students still have some difficulties in integrating various evidence together to support a claim through logical reasoning. So as a learning scientist, our job, we need to identify what are the possible reasons for this and what kind of support we can provide. So pedagogical and technological support, both type of support are needed. So when we went into the classroom to find out what are the things we could do, we found that there are three aspects, perhaps a learning scientist that can provide certain support. The first, argumentation. We have found out that in the classroom argumentation, a lot of argumentation is text-based. So it is quite common students using text to go for sometimes go very deep, but very trivial things to argue. They lose the overall picture. Therefore, we are proposing maybe we can have a graph-based argumentation before they are text-based argumentation or even verbal argumentation. But at least we help them to see the overall picture of this argumentation. Okay, and also collaboration, right? Collaboration is one of the 21st century competencies. However, our students still need more support in terms of finding out, respect multiple perspectives, integrating, synthesizing different ideas from different people. Then at the end, they need to improve the ideas as a group or even at the class level. Yeah. So the last but not least, we found out we need to provide a real-time assessment on students' collaborative argumentation. Yeah. Okay. So this is our proposed solution. Our project that we have developed computer system is a web-based system. It's called AppleTree. So as you can see from here, AppleTree presents each user a two-pane window. The left pane is a navigation panel. Yeah. The right pane is a student's working space. So it is a graph-based argumentation system. So normally, if it is an oval shape, it is a claim. And if the rectangle shape is the evidence, then the arrow stands for, the green arrow means this is evidence to support this claim. And the red arrow stands for that I also have some evidence against this claim. Yeah, we also have those idea shape, the cloud shape, because in the process of observing how students are constructing argumentation, we found out some of them, they are having difficulties. They don't know whether this is a claim or evidence at the beginning, but they feel this kind of idea could be relevant to argumentation. So we still provide such a cloud shape there so that they are able to park their idea there. Later on in the process of argumentation, when things are getting clearer to them, they can right-click, then this cloud shape can be transformed into claim or evidence. Okay, so here are some examples on student-generated argumentation. So as you can see, even within 5 minutes, students are able to generate a lot of argumentation with their group members. Normally, students are working in the group of 3 to 5. Yeah. Okay, so in our system, we also have this affordances, which is called a peer rating and a peer commenting. So students group, they are able to see each other's work. Then they are able to right-click and provide some comments. Yeah, because the idea is we are trying to encourage student groups to work with other groups rather than just within their group. So in this way, we hope bigger class size can be an advantage instead of a disadvantage. So once a specific claim or evidence receive many like or many dislike, right? Then on their working space, it will be shown a lot of a smiling face or a lot of a crying face. This will help channel students or even teachers' attention to the specific post that they may want to clarify or elaborate at the class level later. So usually a teacher like to choose those posts with a lot of like or maybe a lot of dislike. Yeah, but no matter what students choose like or dislike, they need to justify, rationalize why they like this and why do they dislike it. Okay, so just now I have talked about our technological solution. Here comes to our pedagogical model, because we feel the pedagogy and the technology, they need to work together. Yeah. Okay, so this is the model we have developed in our local school context, and many schools, they have been using this for their collaborative learning. So for each collaborative learning activity, actually teachers can consider having different phases For example, the phase one could be individual ideation. So before talking to the group members, they may start to think individually first, what are the ideas, how they are going to solve the problem individually. Then the phase two, they get into groups. They need to present their ideas to their group members. Then we want to encourage a verbal discussion. Using technology doesn't mean we want to hinder their verbal discussion, but we feel that sometimes an online artifact can trigger students a more meaningful verbal discussion. So phase two, within the group, they discuss with each other, then they need to come out an artifact. The quality need to be higher than the phase one, but the number of the ideas need to be less than phase one. So this is the phase two. After phase two, once the group feel they have done their best to reach the best quality as they can as a group, then they can go to the phase three. Phase three, intergroup critique. So they are going to look at other groups' work. Sometimes due to the time constraint, they may not be able to have time to go through all other groups' work, but teacher will ask them to just look at the one or two other groups' work and providing some comments. At the same time, they are also learning from that group. After phase three, they can come back to the same group. Then they refine their group work based on what they have learned from other group and based on what are the comments and the suggestions provided by other groups. So phase five, okay, individual perfection. So they can go back and start to think what they have benefited from this collaborative learning group work. In terms of their individual knowledge, what are the things they have improved? So this is called the spiral model of a collaborative knowledge improvement. So hopefully students do purposeful and meaningful collaboration. They are collaborating not for the sake of a collaboration. They need to improve their knowledge and ideas at the individual level, group level, and class level. Yeah. So we have found out that this model has been highly adaptable in the classroom. Sometimes the teachers start at phase two and at phase four. Yeah, it is possible. And sometimes we found that teacher may skip phase 3 and 4. So we only have a 1, 2, and 5. Yeah, it really depends on the learning context. It's a very interesting model. Okay, so in terms of assessment, so because we do have some AI expert in our team, so we are also thinking what are the support needed for the teachers and the students to have real-time assessment. So it is assessment for learning, which is a diagnostic in nature. So let the students know what are the areas they are doing very well, what are the areas need to be improved. So it's more diagnostic rather than judgmental. So we have a conceptualized, we need to provide immediate feedback and assessment on social collaboration process, their cognitive learning product. So in terms of a social process, we need to address their participation, interaction, and the learning product. We also need to address different aspects. So just give you some examples. In terms of a social aspect, so our technology, we are able to provide a real-time assessment on students' participation. For example, across different groups, which group they contribute a lot, which group contribute a little. And certain groups looks like they contribute a lot on claim, but very little evidence. Whereas other groups, they have many evidence, but just 1 or 2 claims, right? Then in terms of interaction, because this is a collaborative learning project, so our technology, we do provide those real-time social network analysis. So each dot represents our students. If the area of the dots is very big, which means these people has contributed a lot. And if the dot area is very, very small or even invisible, which means that this person is very passive in this online collaboration. Yeah, those arrows between people, the thicker the line, the more interaction between these two students. Okay, so we can do the social network analysis across groups. We can also do the social network analysis within a group. Okay, so in terms of a cognitive aspect, at this moment, we have achieved the automated assessment on structural completeness. So we have this kind of Apple. So we hope students need to have a growth mindset, and everything is improvable. So for example, if they only have a one claim without any evidence, and they are going to have a one green apple will be shown on their screen. Yeah, your group, you have a one green apple, but green apple is a bit sour. So now if you add one evidence support this claim, then this green apple will become red, a bit, sweet, it tastes better. But this is still not enough. If your group is able to add one evidence against this claim, it will become yellow. Yeah. Then if you have a add more evidence for, or more than one evidence against this claim, your apple become a golden. Yeah, golden apple makes very, very good. Okay. So those essential components that are critical for effective argumentation will be reflected in those apples. So students like to check their apples, and they're going to compare the number of the golden apple of their own group with other groups. Okay, so now my team is also looking into using other AI technique, for example, machine learning, trying to have automated assessment of other aspects of students' cognitive learning. So the project is still ongoing. We can update you when we have a more AI solution. Okay, so now just share with you some examples of students' work. Yeah, sorry, due to the time constraint, I may not be able to go in very deep. Just to show you some example of a student's work in various subjects. So this is for science learning students. Science learning normally is in the area of scientific argumentation and explanation. So I think this one is about using the Faraday's laws to explain certain scientific phenomena. Yeah. So in different phases, students work on the AppleTree, and they keep improving their scientific argumentation. Okay, so this is an example in mother tongue Chinese language learning. So the Chinese language teachers used this for the argumentative essay. So before getting students to start to write argumentative essay, he wants students to discuss and argue for us as the structure for their argumentative essay. So at the beginning, there are a lot of different ideas. Then they go to phase 2. They have less number of the ideas, but the quality is better than better. Then after the peer rating, they go back to their own group to improve. So with the final product, less number of the ideas, but the quality is the best. Okay, so this is collab argumentation for English. Yeah, this is a very new example. I get this as screen capture from our AppleTree system today. Yeah, because today 2 schools are using AppleTree. One school is using AppleTree for their English language learning. So the topic they are discussing today, is really like a social scientific issue. Some people say that Singapore is not doing enough to fight climate change. Do you agree or not? Students are arguing for this topic today. Yeah. So today another school is also using AppleTree for their social study learning. So the topic they are arguing is, in your opinion, what can the government do to maintain an effective and high standard education system? Explain your answer using 2 strategies, right? So this is just happening today. Okay, so in terms of classroom-based research, so in the past few years, we have been working with 6 schools, 4 subjects, 15 classes, and 20 teachers, 500 students. They have been involved in this project. We have a co-designed the 15 lessons with the teachers, and the teacher also enact those lessons. So we are doing design-based research, which means after each lesson, we did a quick cycle of data analysis show to the teacher, because we need to identify what are the areas we do very well, what are the areas need to be improved. So it's evidence-based decision-making. Okay. So just to summarize some of the findings, yeah. So across all the schools, all the classes, we found the students did improve their content knowledge, no matter in the subject of science, English, or social studies. Okay. And we also did a lot of analysis on the perspective taking, yeah, because argumentation, perspective, and the reasoning, they are very important. So we use some so-called advanced techniques to analyze students' discourse, online discourse in the AppleTree. So as you can see in the example here, in the pre-test, there are a lot of ideas, individual ideas. However, those ideas are not very well connected. But in the poster test, we found out that their perspective and ideas in terms of a number is less. However, they are more or less well connected. So this has shown students has developed more mature ideas through this kind of argumentation. Yeah. So we also did a lot of qualitative analysis. The purpose is trying to find out what are those possible missed opportunity in this collaborative argumentation. So we are doing cross-class analysis, even cross-group analysis, or cross-students analysis. Then we are comparing those better performed students and the less better performed students, trying to identify what are the missed opportunity for this group, what are the missed opportunity for this class and for the students, and see what kind of learning design can help them better. Yeah. Okay. So for our project, because due to time constraint, sorry, really not able to go into too detail in our finding. So this is our learning design. Actually, we are trying to put simple yet powerful technologies into the classroom. And we hope we are able to transform those classrooms into collaborative argumentation practices. And in terms of working with the school teachers and the students, we found out sometimes teachers in a dilemma, so they need to, of course, think about the teaching innovation, but at the same time, I think the efficiency part is non-negotiable, right? So teachers have to take up students' content learning, also need to address their 21st century competencies. Yes, I think we found out that this is really a tension, but actually it can be done through those called optimal adaptability corridor. And this is my final slides, right? The slides, I think, when we are trying to use technology and the pedagogy in the classroom is really about a TPAC, right? Technological pedagogical content. The intersection of the three to make the impact on classroom practices cannot be just the technology, cannot be using technology for the sake of technology. We need to make sure technology can add value to students' learning. Then we use it, right? If students are able to achieve the same learning result, even use the pen and pencil, so the same result like using technology, then it is not considered as a meaningful use. So what we see here, technology, pedagogy, and the content, they really need to work together to achieve the desired learning outcome. Yeah. Okay. So this is my research team. Yeah, thank you very much for my research team to make this project possible. And thank you for all those collaborating schools, teachers, and the students. They have putting a lot of effort in this project. Okay, so I've done my presentation. Now I'd like to, open the questions from the floor. Yeah, thank you. I will stop sharing my slides.